Hello and welcome to the Parenting Tools podcast. My name is Jason.
And my name is Jordan. We are the Parenting Tools, and this is the podcast where we talk about our lives, our experiences, the highs, the lows, the wins, the losses.
The dynamic Daddo.
Oh my life.
Sounded better in my head.
Dynamic Dad. Jace, this week is a guest episode.
Yeah, we don't have a jingle for that.
Nope.
Every time.
And we have this week joining us George Crossland. I'm really excited about this. George is hilarious.
Oh, he's really funny.
Social media, I'm going to say the word, sensation.
If you've not seen him on social media, please do check him out. You will thank us.
Yeah, George Crossland on Instagram. Check him out. He's probably one of the busiest people. He's a podcaster. He's got music that he puts out. He's got his Instagram that's just completely taken off. And 2 kids.
Wow.
Just had his second. I'll let him explain it all. But he's a busy guy. But what I love about George, he's really positive.
And really wholesome.
Very wholesome.
Really good content.
I think you'd enjoy this.
Before we speak to our guest, this week we had a little activity that my daughter really enjoyed.
I thought you meant me and you. I was thinking, did we?
We did go for soft play.
We did.
But no, growing vegetables.
Lovely.
Yeah, the whole thing. Going to the shop to buy the pots and the soil and the seeds. It was. I'm going to use the term. It was a full day killer. But it was really enjoyable.
Is she asking every day if they've grown yet?
She's asking every day if she can go water them.
That's good. Look
Which is
after them.
Good. I'm glad she remembers.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to forget. And like worst case scenario, if in like 3 months' time there's nothing there, just go buy some carrots. Put them in.
Come in. Yeah. Boom. There you go.
Yeah.
We did that this weekend. We got our strawberries
Oh, very nice.
that our son likes to see if they check them. Not every day, every hour.
Oh.
Are they red yet? No. Can I eat them? No. When they're red. Are they red yet? No.
But it's one of those things that I didn't realise how complex growing things could be.
In what sense?
There's so many instructions to some of the things.
Is it not just stick it in the ground and water it?
That's what I presumed.
Okay.
But there's some seeds that we got. We looked at the instructions and it's like you have to put it into a smaller size pot, wait until it's like sprouting and transfer it to a bigger pot. I haven't got time for that.
No.
One pot wonder. That's all I want.
It's my snooker career summed up. Oh, that's lovely. So what did you buy? What's the veg that you've gone for?
Went for carrots.
Carrots. Well, I could have guessed that.
From my
Why aren't my
good
potatoes
logic.
growing? No, there's a carrot there.
Carrots, cucumbers, spring onions.
Oh, yeah.
We went for spinach. That's one of the complex ones apparently. So we didn't grow that. Still in seed form. What else? And just some flowers.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. We're growing some potatoes, but that's not intentionally.
Some potatoes.
In the cupboard. Sprouting.
Oh, that's well. I hope they do take. Keep us posted
Yeah, I hope so too.
with the progress.
Probably won't update you every week.
No, please don't. So we've got an exciting family event coming up this week.
Ooh.
We've got a wedding. So do you remember a few months ago we had a FaceTime as we were recording?
Yes.
My sister-in-law had got engaged.
Yeah.
So it's Monday today as we record. She's getting married on Thursday.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. And my kids are in the wedding.
Ah, that's very cute.
So Luca's a page boy, Mila's a flower girl.
Yeah.
We had the rehearsal yesterday. And it did not go well.
Oh no.
No, not at all. To be fair to the kids, it was like through Mila's nap time, it was through lunchtime, so they were both tired, both hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Mila's got a little basket of petals to sprinkle. She just shakes it. So they fall out. So this is how I think it's going to happen now. This episode comes out after the wedding.
Yeah.
So I can see if there's an accurate prediction here. I think Luca's going to be brilliant. I think he's going to walk down. I think Mila is going to shake the petals and then roll in the petals. That's what she was doing yesterday. And then Luca will turn around to grab her and help her. And then they'll just start fighting. That's what I think is going to happen.
Is there any anxiety?
Not at all.
Or is it just like, whatever happens, happens?
Knowing that I can get £250 from you being framed is really...
That's still going.
Yeah. It's really easing the nerves. The good thing for me
Just
is,
set up a camera.
yeah, I just need, yeah, anyone listening, well, it's going to be too late, but horizontal, film it in landscape so they can get on the telly. And then genuinely, that's what's getting me through is the thought of I can get on UV frame with
You
this.
have a funny story off the back of it.
Well, the good thing for me is
Potentially in the wedding, but that's fine.
my wife's maid of honour, so she is also there. She'll be there with them,
Yeah.
but she doesn't want to be looking after them at that moment, walking down the aisle. I will be on the stage because I'm doing the songs.
Nice.
So I'm responsibility free.
It's not your problem.
It's not my problem. Although, it'll be my gain when the £250 comes in. So yeah, who knows how it's going to go.
Oh, that's exciting.
But the kids are staying, so my mum's going to pick them up from the wedding and take them to her house. And we've got an evening at the venue.
Nice.
I've got Thursday and Friday off.
Oh, played that well.
Played it very well.
Yeah.
Bank holiday Monday today, Tuesday, Wednesday at work, Thursday, Friday off.
You've done that really well.
Yeah.
There's a bit of planning on involved into that.
None at all. I only realised last week, Friday, when I was looking ahead to next week. I thought, oh, I'm only working 2 days next week.
Oh, lovely.
So, yeah.
Did you get a little suit for Luca?
Yeah, he looks smashing. Mila's got a little white dress.
That's so cute.
Kids look amazing.
Oh.
Of course, we won't get a picture of them together smiling. Yeah, I'm really looking forward
sauce will be all over them.
Yeah, just kind of, no, I don't want a picture, and won't stay still. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
John, I heard something this week which I was a little bit confused by.
I've seen it on the notes and I'm also confused. So please do enlighten me.
So I understand the world that we're living in. It's important to be sensitive.
Yep.
Not everyone's living the same way. Lots of stuff going on in people's lives.
Yeah. Where is this going?
Just wanted to preface that. I think sometimes a bit unnecessary.
Yeah.
It was in the context of talking about stay-at-home mums.
Yeah.
That was the context of what I was watching. And for some reason, the phrase, instead of stay-at-home parent or stay-at-home mum or dad, it was house person.
Like an estate agent.
That's what I thought. That leaves the room wide open. That could be anything. That's someone they just dwell in the house.
Yeah.
Like a house cat. They don't go out.
Hermit.
They live inside.
Yeah.
Just confused me.
It tickled you, did it?
Yeah. I think I was perplexed.
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 By the House People.
Yeah.
Isn't that a band? The House People.
I have no idea.
The Lighthouse People, I think, is a band.
I'm sure House People's a band somewhere.
Fish of them. It's that whole thing, isn't it?
What? I'm up. Identify as whatever's necessary.
Yep.
All that sort of language. I just got confused. That was more confusing to me than in the context of what we were talking about. It's just a parent who stays at home. That's their main job, rather than they're a house person.
Yeah.
Because that also puts the emphasis being on the house part.
Mm.
And if you've tried to look after your kids or your partner's out at work, not a lot of house looking after. That's a really really weird way to say it.
Housekeeper.
Not a lot of housekeeping gets done when you've got toddlers running around.
Yeah.
So why don't they call the child person? That makes it sound weirder.
It does.
I'm going to just slowly back away from this
Just
topic.
got to stick with stay-at-home mum and dad, I think. So, Jace, moving on from house person to artificial intelligence.
Before we just go on to that, sorry, this just popped into my head. The house person reminds me of Dobby the house elf.
Dobby. Do you know when Dobby died? Spoiler alert. Spoilers.
I mean, that's like almost 20 years on.
And everyone was like, oh no, Dobby's dead. I was like, get a grip.
It was a touching moment.
Oh, he's annoying.
But also, if you read the book, you would have found out first.
There you go. So it's your own right.
Yeah.
So, ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah.
Big topic.
I'm a big fan.
I love ChatGPT.
I'm a big fan. I'm also not a big fan of all the hype.
I can't go on Twitter without seeing ChatGPT. Here's 7 ways to make yourself more efficient.
Exactly. And everyone's using that thing. There's 7 ways to revitalise your life.
Yeah, all that kind of nonsense.
What?
Just tell it to do stuff and it does it for you. But anyway, on this podcast, we're unhelpful with our advice. And we're unhelpful with answering questions. Last week someone said, what's your advice about chickenpox? We said, we can remember having it. So, I've enlisted the help of ChatGPT if you are expecting children and you don't know what to call them,
Oh, this is good. I've just seen it on the notes.
I have asked ChatGPT to come up with a list of boys' and girls' names. So I'm doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you because this is when we had our first, we couldn't think of a name, and I wish ChatGPT was there to come up with a name for me.
Wow.
Love his name. I'm glad we settled on what we settled.
It's a great name.
But at the time, just wish there was someone to do it for me. Anyway, if you're expecting, get a pen, get some paper. So I asked ChatGPT to write a list of 10 traditional girls' names, first and second names, for 2023. So we've got middle names as well. So we've got Amelia Rose, Charlotte Elizabeth, Olivia Grace, lovely name, Sophia Marie. These are all lovely names. Emma Louise, Abigail Jane, Isabella Claire, Emily Catherine, Madison Faith, and Victoria Ann.
And to be fair, they all sound like real people.
They do. Imagine telling that story. Oh, how did you pick your children's names? I listened to this podcast. And this guy got ChatGPT to write a list of names. Do you want to do the next ones?
That's quality. And so you changed the prompt.
I have.
From traditional to now modern.
Yep.
Names. Yeah.
Dive in. You take it.
My reading is terrible, so if I mispronounce these, just let me know. Aria Sky?
Yep.
Sky with an E on the end.
Yeah.
That seems unnecessary.
Silent E. I love the name Aria, or Aria.
Aria.
Either or.
Aria Sky?
Aye.
Moving on. Luna Jade.
That sounds like a Harry Potter character.
It does, because there's someone called Luna.
Luna Jade.
But not Jade. Myla Grace. Harper Quinn.
That sounds like a character as well.
Harley Quinn is the character. Batman.
Yeah.
Or the Joker. Avery Rose.
Nice name.
Nova Blake. Nova. I quite like that.
Nova.
Nova.
That's original.
Super. That's poor. Everly Faith. I can't pronounce this one.
Aurora.
Aurora Sage.
That looks like Aurora's age.
That sounds like someone out of like a Harry Potter,
Yeah, it does.
Some sort of wizardry book. Willow Noel. That's quite a mouthful.
Very American.
Yeah, true. But that's quite a tongue twister.
Yep.
Zara Bell.
Zarabelle. Zarabelle.
Again, an unnecessary E.
Not as strong. You got Bell as in. You're spelling out Bell. Yeah. As in the percussion. So yeah, again, good names. Not as strong as the traditional names, I'd say. But don't worry, if you're expecting a boy, we've got you covered. So here's our 10 traditional boys' names. We've got Benjamin James, William Thomas, Samuel David.
Hold on. Samuel David is the name of our recent guest, Samuel David Johnson.
There you go.
There you go.
Have you got mother's
Tried
maiden
and
name?
tested.
Mother's maiden name and date of birth there. First pet's name. Henry Joseph, Alexander Michael, Daniel Matthew, Matthew Christopher, Nicholas Robert, Andrew Patrick, and Jonathan Peter.
I've got to say, these ones just sound like they've picked two first names and put them together.
It does indeed. Yep.
Actually, most of them, all of them are two first names put together.
Is there such thing as a middle name? Or is the middle name just a first name that comes second?
Oh, that's a good idea.
There you go.
That's an important topic. Has anyone got a first name which sounds like a middle name?
You got middle name?
Joshua. It's a first name.
First name.
It's a strong first name.
Mine's Michael.
Strong first name.
Michael. Hence why I was a fan of Michael Jordan growing up.
Yeah, just the wrong way around.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope those names have saved your day.
Yeah. If you're approaching due date and you're thinking we've still not got a name, you're welcome.
And if
there's a list of names you don't want.
And if you are picking a name, I think we've mentioned it before, there is an app which is like Tinder but for names.
Yeah.
You and your partner can download it. You go through it by yourselves and it will tell you which ones you've matched on. I can't remember what it's called, but it exists.
Have I ever told you the story about my wife when we were like trying to find a name? She sent me a list of first and second names she liked.
Yeah.
And I picked 2. Sure, no, I don't like this. Helpful. Thank you. So you've put something on here. You've put a question before we dive into our guest.
Yeah.
Sounds painful. Do adult males still use links?
This is a question which I didn't know the necessary or the appropriate forum to ask it in.
Because it sounds like you've been thinking about it and you just want a bit of...
Listen, I don't know if you've been into Ted Lasso recently.
No.
Me and my wife have. We've been binge watching.
Been roped into the lasso.
We have. We have. We are suckers. It's light-hearted. It's good. Recommend it as a watch.
I have heard it is brilliant.
One of the episodes, there is clearly a Lynx product placement. In the football players' changing rooms, open up one of the cupboards and there's just a load of links. And it genuinely got me asking the question of, do adult males still use links?
I did recently.
I'm glad to hear. And it's not a question of any sort of, I genuinely want to know because I feel like if I go to buy it in the shop, I'm going to get a funny look.
See, I didn't want to. I ran out of Right Guard, which is an adult's deodorant. And all I had left was some links from a Christmas.
Ah, yeah. The classic Christmas present.
Yeah, the deodorant and shower.
Is it Lynx Africa?
Don't know what it was.
Chocolate.
But it's flipping horrible stuff. It's just so sticky.
See, I don't mind. I don't mind the smell of links. I mean, it does give you flashbacks to when you're at school.
Yeah. Oh, just everywhere.
Everywhere.
The women will love this.
That's what they sold us on.
No, I'd rather smell like Lynx than armpit.
Yeah, and I have asked this question to a few of my friends, and a few people did say the Lynx like roll on is better than other roll-ons available.
As a man with armpit hair, you can't use roll-on. It just pulls at it. Surely, you have to waft afterwards. You have to dry it off.
It's like one of those questions that it's like, if you saw an adult using like children's toothpaste, you'd be like, what's going on here? Bubblegum flavoured?
Yeah, you just assume they've run out of adult one, I would.
Yeah, I'd assume they like the taste.
They've got a job interview and no other alternative.
Well, they try to impress. Get a load of this.
Oh my word. Jace, moving away from first milk teeth toothpaste.
What?
It. And before we speak to George, if you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please do leave us a review and a rating. That would be much appreciated. If you're watching on YouTube, please do subscribe to the channel. If you don't watch on YouTube, go on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. That'd be wonderful.
Please do send us your message at Parenting Tools Pod. George, I'm really excited for this interview. If you've not seen already, George has done a few videos around his mental health in regards to when his second child was born. Really looking forward to that. Hopefully get to ask him those questions as well. Without further ado, let's jump in.
So a massive welcome to the Parenting Tools podcast to George Crossland. George, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. We really appreciate it. George, we always ask our guests just to let us know, who are you and what have you got to kick us off?
I am George Crossland and I've got a very shiny forehead. No, I'm joking. It's I've got 2 amazing boys. They're 2 under 2. So I'm a tired man, a very tired man. And the newborn, I think if I was to turn my mic up a bit, you might be able to hear him crying downstairs. But the toddler is actually asleep. Yeah, that's my setup. Me, my partner, and my 2 kids. That's it. So that's us.
2 under 2. How old are they?
I've got 23 months and 6 weeks.
Wow, you're
6
fresh.
Fresh. Maybe not even 6 weeks, 5 weeks. I mean, do you remember with the first kid, you were like, happy 4 weeks, happy 1 month? I genuinely can't remember how old my baby is. Yeah. I was at a hospital appointment and they asked for my baby's birthday and I forgot it. And it's my mum's birthday as well.
Oh, amazing. George, just for some of our listeners who maybe have not seen you on TikTok or that, can you tell us a little bit about that side of things? Also, your podcast as well. Tell us all about those things.
Yeah, sure. Well, I do like comedy satirical videos about being a parent, which is quite easy when your muse is literally the two children that you live with. And it's basically just, yeah, every time something funny or frustrating or crazy happens in my life, I just managed to get it into a short form skit and people are quite enjoying them. And then my podcast is called Emotional Daddage. That is basically half an hour of me just actually getting all my emotions out for hopefully other men or dads to be to listen to. And so it's like, so they don't feel as alone with all the soppy stuff.
No, it's amazing.
It's therapeutic, isn't it? Getting it out on a podcast. I've found that.
It really is. Like people say, like, how do you just talk for half an hour? And I'm like, firstly, I'm a narcissist, obviously, but secondly, there's a lot to process in the day, and if you get to just, or even in the week, sorry, I do it once a week, and you just get to like word vomit all the stuff that's happened to you, you can go into the next week feeling pretty fresh. It is therapeutic.
So we love your videos, George. I mentioned to you before that Jay sent me your Instagram page, and we were like, oh, we need to get him on at some point, and we really enjoy watching them. Kind of what made you start doing them, and at what point did you think this is getting big now? Because you've got quite a big following, haven't you?
Yeah, it was. I've always sort of put art and music up, but I've never sort of documented my life really before I had children, because I didn't think I had anything very specific to show the world. I'm just like a guy that makes music that has long hair. But then when I was a guy that makes music with long hair and have children now, I think that's when people responded to it a bit more. And like the chemistry I have with my children, I guess, is what people like, because I'm just a bit mad and they really enjoy me being really mad. Being for you, but I think I can hear my kid going really, really, really mad downstairs. Do you mind if I just go down quickly?
No, if you need to go, you
okay. All right, yeah, thank you.
We just had a bit of a real world dadness there. George had to just run off and attend to the children.
For sure.
George, just a question, like, for your family, kind of for you growing up, what was that like for you? Because one of the things that I love about your content is it's really wholesome. You seem to really just enjoy spending time with your kids, and that's infectious. What was your family like growing up? Was that similar to that, or was it the opposite?
I'm the youngest of three, right? And the oldest is 6 years older than me. So my life was sort of just like no responsibilities and all fun. You know, it's just like, because by the time they got to me, they were like, bedtime, we could do it, but if we just let them stay up, we get to drink wine downstairs. So I think I've basically lived in a playground and like just having fun for so many years of my life. And it's like a perspective that I get to have with my family. Like I enjoy life so much, and growing up, I enjoyed life so much. And so I want that for my children, because I know how valuable it is.
I really think you can tell that, George, in your videos.
Yeah.
You know, even the serious ones. There was one the other day you were talking about having 2 under 2, and you were just doing kick-ups in your back garden.
Yeah.
And then just being like, do you know what? I am shattered. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
There you are, you know, doing around the world. Like,
Do you know what? I've dug myself a hole with that, because I'm having to teach myself new tricks at the age of 30, and it is doing my legs in. Because I have to level up every single video. 2 under 2 is now going to be a weekly series. I have a month left to 2 under 2, and I need to blow people away with those kick-ups. It's the hardest intro ever.
maybe we should do that, Jace.
I feel like all my limbs are like getting worse after every single day. I went for a walk up a hill last week, and honestly, I couldn't walk for like 2 days.
I love how you said that, and we both sort of went, "Oh, yeah, hill."
Oh, just a steep incline.
Oh no, you didn't have any stairs, did you?
So, George, you've become a father of 2 recently.
Yeah,
I'm a dad of 2, and I found it very different between 1 and 2. And I just wondered if you found it different, or what those differences are, or if you've just found it the same but more exaggerated.
That was very political, that question. I found it very different. Sorry, I had to inject.
Straight down the line. I don't want to offend anyone, but vote for me. No, it was. To be honest, I've talked about this a little bit online. The euphoria of the first baby, and like you think everyone in the world is watching you become a dad, and it's like it's just all encompassing and incredible. And then the excitement of thinking that's going to happen again, which I'm sure it does for some people. But when the second baby came along, my youngest, there was it's sort of like these waves of euphoria and these sort of like moments where I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And then it's back to sort of the practical nature of being a parent. And I said this to my mum because I felt guilty about this feeling. And it actually, I had a bit of paternal postnatal depression, which I'm sure we can talk about in a bit. But I said to my mum, I was like, I feel really bad. Like, I don't feel how I did the first time round. She was like, yeah, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to burst your bubble. And I was like, you could have prepared me for that, please, actually. That would have been really, really good. And that's why I've been like speaking about this to sort of maybe if people are going to have a second baby, preparing them for like the fact that it's not going to be as euphoric because you don't get to sit on the sofa for 6 weeks and just look at this beautiful thing you've created. You have to entertain a toddler or a 5-year-old or whatever, like as well. And then it's these waves. And yeah, I'm sort of out the other end of that more darker time. Like I was generally happy with my life, with my kids, my partner, everything was going all right. But when I was looking at my newborn, I was like, holy wow, I don't feel how I did the first time. And I am a terrible person for that. Now obviously looking back at that, I'm like, I was going through something that I couldn't understand and explain. And now I look at him and I'm like, the euphoria is here now because I've figured out what this journey is under two kids now, and how you split your time and you split your emotions and how to not feel guilty about everything. So yeah, it's I'm loving it because it's doubled the size, it's doubled my heart. I have 2 of these amazing people I've created, but it's definitely harder to have 2 children.
Oh, George, that video that you made about the paternal postnatal depression sparked like a really interesting conversation with me and my wife, because a few people around our world experience a lot of those kind of mental health struggles with their kids. My wife had it pretty bad, but also then other people in my family have experienced similar things. But actually, just to say that the video that you made, I thought was really helpful. But maybe we could talk about that a little bit more. Like, what was it when you were going through it? The moment that you realized, was it easy for you to find like help or an avenue to talk about it, or did you feel even more pressure or guilt, especially because it's men's kind of postnatal isn't really talked about a lot at all, and women's they're only now really starting to talk about it more openly. What was that like? If you can talk about that a little bit more.
Well, when it was, so my friends came down to see me like 3 days after the baby was born, I think, or 4 days after. And the way I sort of got to realize it was, with me and my friends, we just roast each other constantly and say everything that we're feeling and then get roasted for it. And you sort of like can figure out how you're feeling. And then I would like make jokes like, yeah, but it's not as good as the other one, is it? And then like a few of those jokes happened. And then I was like, and then they were like, is everything actually all right? I just want to unpick it a bit. And then I was like, maybe I'm not actually, no. And then I start to speak about it with my friends and start talking about how I don't feel the same. And like, is this okay? And they're like, yes, like it's absolutely fine. And then I didn't Google it. I don't Google things because then I'll just end up going to A&E with everything. But I didn't see anything about this online, about men having this. And I made a post about it and I didn't even know what the words were to say for it, if it had a name, because I know people are starting to not say the baby blues because it sounds a little bit easy or a little bit like brushing it off sort of thing. But yeah, when I was when I was realizing I maybe had this postnatal depression, the guilt was probably the worst bit. Like I felt like I was a bad dad, and I didn't post about it online until I felt like it was getting better. And then I thought, there's probably a lot of dads that think they're just bad dads and they just don't bother. Or there's partners that think they have a bad dad for a partner, but it's because they haven't been able to speak about these things they might have been feeling. Imagine not having people to talk to or a following to share stuff with, and you have paternal postnatal depression and you can't even tell your partner about it. You're like, oh my God, I'm just a bad dad. This is not for me. This isn't for me. I don't feel like, and I just really hope that lots of dads would see that post I made and maybe start talking about it with their friends or their partner, and then become really, really good dads and confident dads. Because that's what we want. That's what you two want as well. You want confident dads around because we want a great future for our kids. And
100%.
It seems like postnatal depression is a lot more common than we think. And if people are being able to figure it out, lots of dads and mums, obviously, then maybe we will have a lot more confident parents around.
No, I think that's for us. That was one of the reasons why we started the podcast, is just to enable a conversation, especially for dads. Dads don't, in my world, dads don't really talk about parenting a lot.
No.
When actually for me that was essential to actually survive. And so I just think like your video was really like vulnerable, but it was also really helpful. And that's just the encouragement that anyone listening to this, actually, if you need an avenue to talk to, find one, or if you can't find one, send a message to us. Like genuinely, talk to anyone, talk to a cat about it if you have to. But it's just get those emotions out, because keep them locked inside. That's where you get into dangerous territory.
Yeah. And half the time, these people aren't bad dads. They're just not confident and they don't know how to figure out how they're feeling.
Yeah. You've touched on two things there, George. One, I kind of relate to. So with our second, it was very much the same. I didn't feel like I bonded with her as quickly as I did the first one.
Yeah.
Because the first one was there. Do you know what I mean? You have to look after them.
Yeah.
And you don't have that time just to sit. So with my first, I've mentioned this before, I just sit and play Call of Duty with him next to me, and that would be me. And I just have that time, and I'd be looking across at him constantly. But you don't have that with the second one, because the first one's jumping on them, or you've got, so you just don't have that time. It's not that the connection isn't there for me. For me, it wasn't. Well, I'll rephrase. It's not that connection wasn't there. I just didn't have the time for it to be as strong.
Yeah.
Because I had two of them. And I was exactly the same. I made a joke. People were joking about, we were around a table at a family gathering, and people were joking about who was their favorite child. And I was like, oh, of course, it's the oldest one. The youngest one doesn't do anything yet, kind of. And then a few weeks later, I said to my wife, I can't believe I made that joke. And it was a joke. But for me, that was the start of actually, I'm not feeling too great. And then I felt bad because I felt bad.
Oh man, yeah, that's like, now I'm at the other end. I now feel bad about having the depression. Yeah. That's the life cycle of a parent, I think. I think we're gonna have that forever.
Yes, I'm not sure if I was depressed or if I was exhausted, or if it like you, it just took me by surprise that it wasn't this euphoric baby bubble that I had the first time. But there were certainly those glimpses that are the norm now.
Yeah.
The other thing that you mentioned, and I've talked about this with friends before, is that whole thing of men not talking. Now, that's a bit of a cliche, or men don't talk. And it's often considered that men don't want to talk. I think for a lot of men, especially, men that I've been around, they want to talk, just don't have anyone to talk to.
Yeah.
And this is where I think, I've got no data or research to back this up, where relationships start to show some cracks, because a lot of men, the things that grind their gears are marital stuff or relationship stuff and parenting stuff. And a lot of us, we're worried to talk to our wives about that, or our partners, because we don't want to upset them.
Yeah.
So we let it fester.
Mm.
and we let it sit there in silence. And then from an outsider's view, it just looks like we don't want to engage. It's actually, we don't want to upset.
Yeah.
So therefore, for me, having a group of mates like Jason and the friends that are becoming dads and have toddlers, we just have this time where you just get it off your chest.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, questions where you can say, did you feel like this? Has this happened to you? And everyone's just like, we're all in the same boat.
Mm.
And so it's really key to have, I think, to have that space just to be honest with somebody.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really important. So yeah, like Jay said, if you want to get in touch, please do follow George. And I'm sure George would be happy to take, I'm speaking on behalf of George now.
Yeah, I'll take a few followers. Yeah, go for it.
But it is super important to recognize there is that need to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And that enables you to enjoy those high moments and kind of savor them, because there's so many high moments, aren't there? And that's something that you're brilliant at capturing. And this is what we love about you and your page, is that you talk about the kind of the down times, but it's not like that classic humor of, oh, we hate having kids. It's actually, I love having kids. And you can that comes across.
Well, this is like a lot of dad accounts. Like, don't get me wrong, my feed is not parents coming up. It's like memes and now football tricks. But it's this thing of like, oh, dad's struggling through, or like caution tape, just about made it. Oh, we're sinking. We're just about making it. It's like, no, dads 100% of the time, and we love being dads, and we're good at being dads, you know. And like you two are able to talk about being good dads. You're like, obviously it's always good to share and talk about the bad things, but like you said, or not bad things, but like the down times, and bad things. I don't need to worry about that. But like you said something earlier that like, I share like the good stuff and the good times, but you know, when you're talking to your friends and maybe some of them don't have children, I've always thought like, you really want to talk about, you want to get advice about bad stuff and talk to your friends, but you don't want to bring them down. But like, you don't need advice on how to be happy. And like, you don't, but you also don't want to like constantly share and talk about your kids and how happy you are all the time. And so I sometimes worry that like people, like my friends might think I'm just like constantly bummed out because I'm just always needing advice on the bad things. But like, you don't need it. Like, I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
I know
that my camera.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely do. And it's we say this a lot with parenting. It feels like you can't win. When it's going well, you feel like you're bragging.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and when it's, you know, when you're having some challenges, it feels like you're just moaning all the time. But I always think of footballers. Actually, you mentioned footballers. Like, I tell you what, the one that comes to mind is Everest. If you said to somebody who's climbed Everest, what's the best thing you've ever done? They'd say, climb Everest.
Yeah.
If you said, what's the hardest thing you've ever done? They'd say, climb Everest. Like, the thing that is the best in your life can also be hard and challenging. Yeah. And that is, for me, being a dad. Like, there's nothing more that I love than my kids. And like, the thought of not having them, now I've got them, like, I can't think of it. Like, there's nothing I love more than looking at their faces. But there's times where it's hard. And I think it's okay to say both things.
Exactly. And when you're complaining, and then people that don't have children say, yeah, but you chose to have kids. And then that heat comes over and the blood comes to the edge of your skin. I can't, like, so one person very close to me said that, and I ripped their head off.
It's like, I think so. Last night I went away. It was a lovely time. Went to a spa. Left my daughter with the in-laws, and like until that point, until we're about to drop her off, it was like, yes, like child-free time. On the way there, it was like, I miss her now.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, I get an opportunity at a good night's sleep, and all I can think about is, I miss her.
I don't know how I'm going to do this trek next week. 5 days, almost a week away from them.
That's a lovely segue, actually, George.
Oh yeah.
Tell
Is
us
that on
about
the notes? It's oh yeah, fine actually. Bit of promo. It's for Copperfield, the charity. They're a massive charity, and I'm trekking the Hadrian's Wall for 5 days. And I think I've got everything I need. Just sort of went to Mountain Warehouse today with the toddler and my partner and the newborn, and he was just tearing the place up. And I left with a really, really small bag, boots I think fit, and a torch. That's it.
What more do you need?
That's it. I think maybe I'll take, I don't know, some paracetamol, and that's me good.
So how long is this walk?
It's 100 kilometers, and over 5 days.
Wow. And who are you doing that with? Are you doing it with a team?
So yeah, there's like loads of people doing it. There's Giovanna Fletcher. She's like sort of the leader. Matt Willis and Emma Willis are also leaders. Frankie Bridge and a few others. So I think it's like a bit of there's like a social media bit to it where it's obviously going to be promoting it a bit. But I'm not one of the, like, I applied for this ages ago before I had a following really. So I'm doing it. I applied and I'm doing it because my someone very, very close to me that actually wants anonymity in this whole thing. But she's finally talking about it. Last year got lymph node, which is like basically you get treated like breast cancer. And yeah, it was just like an awful year. But now she's absolutely fine and like smashing it. Oh. So I'm gonna be thinking about her a lot during this walk. It's gonna be like hyper focused on that.
So if
making videos probably.
So if anyone wants to like support you in that, how would they go about doing that?
Oh, go to my page. So I've got 2 fundraisers, one on Instagram and one on Just Giving. Both you can find on my page. I just thought it's a bit easier if you're on Instagram. You're like, links, don't want to leave the app I'm on. Just want to stay on the app. Then you can do it. But if you do want to go to Just Giving, or if you want to come around my house with change, I'll take it.
So that's at George Crossland.
At George Crossland, and then like loads of underscores. But I'm sure if you type in George Crossland, I'll come up. Beautiful.
That's superb, George. We've loved having you on, and that's really positive what you're doing there, and we wish you all the best and the team. One thing we always ask our guests before we let them leave and return to the chaos.
Yeah, I really want to leave this chat. I really want to go back to that life.
Is like kind of one nugget of parental wisdom that maybe you would drop on somebody.
Get off your phone. I needed that advice today. Get off your phone, because if you look at how much time you've spent on your phone and how much time you've been awake and how much time you could have been making memories with your kids, you'll get to the end of the day feeling a bit rubbish about that. I was making dinner and I was just on my phone, not engaging, and then I was so out of it, I spilt really, really hot tomato sauce everywhere, and it turned into an argument.
Oh no, that's great advice. And like, again, like I have to keep reminding myself of that all the time as well, because it's so easy when you're tired just to reach through your pocket, get your phone out, and just switch off. But it is the time that you've got with your kids, you don't get it back. Everyone says that, but it is so important. George, we've absolutely loved having you on, and we really love your content.
You guys are amazing. What you're doing is incredible.
Amazing. Oh, thank you so much. So very kind. Please do, listeners, follow George, all his accounts, support him in his walk, which sounds madness.
Yeah.
But amazing. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, George. Oh, Jace, I really enjoyed that. What a guy George is.
What a guy.
I'll tell you what I really like about George is just his positivity, his personality. It's infectious, and you can tell that he loves his kids.
Yeah, I really do love that. Like, even when he talks about the negative times, you can clearly see he is just trying his best. Absolutely love that.
Yeah, and he even had to go and be a hands-on dad midway through when his baby was crying, and we love that. So yeah, all the best, George, for next week with your walk. Hope you raise the total money that you're aiming towards and you meet your targets.
And if you'd like to support George in that walk, he's walking for Copperfield Charity. You can find his Instagram page and TikTok pages at George Crossland, and then it'll be one of those pages. I'm sure you'll find it.
Thank you for listening, and we will catch you next week.